Look at you. It's 3 a.m. and you're staring at a screen that won't light up. Your chest feels like someone reached in and twisted your ribs into a knot. You've been discarded, not just broken up with, thrown away like a piece of used plastic. You're replaying every memory, searching for the glitch that made them stop loving you. But here's the cold, hard truth, my friend. There was no glitch. You weren't a partner. You were a battery. And now that they've drained you, they've moved on to a fresh charge while you're left rotting in the dark, begging for a reason why. You think you're going crazy, my friend? But you're just being played. I used to be exactly where you are, begging for a crumb of closure from someone who didn't even have a soul to give it. I am here to wake you up. If your situation is uniquely complicated, drop your story in the comments. I read them, and I will break it down. But today, let's dissect this specific trash can exit. I'm going to give you a magic pill technique. It's called the dead air. This technique requires you to be incredibly lazy. Strategically, they use their silence to kill you, but today, we turn that silence into a weapon. And at the very end of this video, I will give you the one exact 3-word phrase that shatters their control permanently and makes them realize they never actually owned you. Watch closely. They didn't start by hurting you, my friend. They started with the Chameleon Sync. They became your twin. They learned your favorite song, your deepest fear, and your childhood trauma. They weren't falling in love. They were gathering intelligence. They were mapping the structural weaknesses in your soul so they would know exactly where to place the explosives later. I'll show you how to dismantle those explosives, but first, understand that your perfect match was just a ghost wearing your own face. Once they had the map, they moved to the Dopamine IV-Drip. They flooded you with validation. They made you feel like the only person on Earth. They weren't being kind. They were conditioning your brain to need them just to feel normal. They became your oxygen. They knew that once they cut the supply, you would suffocate. And you are suffocating right now, aren't you? Hold on. The air is coming, but first, we have to look at the moment they pulled the plug. This was all part of the Invisible Escalation. Each small boundary they crossed was a test. They were training you to accept the unacceptable. By the time they decided to throw you away, you were already broken. You just didn't know it yet. But theory is useless unless you see the trap snap shut. Let me show you exactly what this trash can exit looks like in real life, and why it's the most calculated move they've ever made. The discard? It felt sudden to you, but they've been planning this for weeks. They chose a moment when you were most vulnerable, perhaps after a fight they started, or a day you needed them most. This is the tactical deletion. They didn't just end the relationship. They deleted your worth. They want you to feel like you never existed. Why? Because a ghost can't fight back. Or so they think. I'm about to give you the exact protocol to make them regret ever hitting delete. Right now, you're chasing the Closure Mirage. You think if you can just get one last conversation, one explanation, you'll be okay? You're wrong. They aren't giving you an explanation because the explanation is the pain. Your confusion is their trophy. Every why you text them is a hit of adrenaline for their ego. You're begging for a key from the person who locked the door. In a moment, I will show you how to kick the door down without saying a single word. Your first instinct is to argue, to prove your value, to remind them of everything you did for them. Don't. That is exactly what they want. They want to see you struggle in the web. They want to hear your voice crack. In a moment, I will give you the exact counterphrase and the dead air technique that breaks their brain. But first, look at how they set the final trap during that last phone call. They expect you to be the suffering supply. They check your social media to see if you're posting sad quotes. They ask mutual friends how you're doing, hoping to hear you're a wreck. This isn't love, my friend. This is an audit. They are checking the balance of the pain they've invested in you. They need to know they still have power. But what happens when the balance is zero? What happens when they reach for you and find nothing but cold, dead air? This is the fatal paradox. You think your empathy will save you. You think if you show them how much they hurt you, they will feel bad and come back. But to a predator, blood doesn't cause guilt. It causes hunger. Your pain is their proof of life. To win, you must become a statue. You must become the dead air. I'm about to break down the 10-second silence that will haunt them for years. But first, we have to talk about the Hoover call they are already preparing to make. They will call you, my friend. It's not a question of if, but when. This is what experts call the Hoover. Like a vacuum, they want to suck you back into the cycle. They aren't calling because they realized your worth. They're calling because their new supply is boring, or they're feeling a momentary dip in their ego. They need to see if the leash they put on your neck still works. I'll show you how to snap that leash in two, but first, you must recognize the bait they're going to dangle. The bait will look like an olive branch. They'll text, "I saw this and thought of you," or "I'm sorry for how things ended." It's a lie. This is the empathy trap. They are checking to see if your gate of access is still open. If you reply with anger, they win. If you reply with love, they win. Any response tells them they still own a piece of your mind. In a moment, I'll show you why your silence is more terrifying to them than any scream. But first, let's look at why they need your reaction to survive. A narcissist exists only in the reflection of others. Without your reaction, they are a hollow shell. They need your pain to confirm their power. This is why the technique I'm about to give you, the dead air, is so lethal. It doesn't just hurt them, it deletes them. I'm going to show you the exact internal state you need to maintain during the call, but before I do, you need to understand the panic phase they enter when their script fails. Your phone rings. You see their name. Your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird. This is the moment of truth. Your old self wants to ignore it or answer and yell. Both are mistakes. If you ignore it, they know they still have the power to make you hide. To execute the dead air, you must do the one thing they never expect. You are going to answer, but you aren't going to speak. I'll tell you exactly what happens at second 5, but first, let's prepare your poker face. This is the pattern interrupt. By answering, you've told their brain, the game is on. They have a script ready. They expect you to say hello or what do you want? They are prepared to charm you or gaslight you. But when you pick up and stay silent, you've just pulled the floor out from under them. You have entered the ego void. I'm about to break down the first 3 seconds of that silence, which are the most critical. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. On their end, there is a scramble. They'll say, "Hello? Are you there?" Their voice will have that familiar condescending tilt. Do not move. Do not even breathe loudly. You are practicing the statue protocol. You aren't a person right now. You are a mirror reflecting their own emptiness back at them. Wait until you hear the shift in their tone. I'll show you how they panic when you hit the 7-second mark, but first, look at the power shift. At second 5, the mask slips. They'll try a different tactic. "I know you can hear me. Stop being immature." This is the baiting phase. They are trying to insult you into a reaction. They need you to defend yourself. But a king doesn't defend himself against a peasant's insults. You are holding the dead air. You are watching them drown in their own silence. Now, look at what happens at second 10. This is where the permanent damage occurs. Second 7, second 8, second 9, they will stop talking. The silence becomes a physical weight. In their mind, they are screaming, "Why aren't they begging? Why aren't they angry?" This is the identity burnback. By not reflecting them, you are effectively telling them they don't exist. They will feel a cold spike of genuine fear. I will give you the one thing you do right before you hang up that seals their fate. But first, see the desperation in their eyes. Second 10. They are breathless. They might whisper your name one last time, sounding small and broken. This is the false vulnerability play. Ignore it. Now, you don't say goodbye. You don't say don't call again. You simply move your finger and end the call. Click. The dead air is now permanent. You've just committed the ultimate erasure. I'll show you why they will spend the next 72 hours in a psychological spiral. But first, the most important rule of the aftermath. By hanging up without a word, you've left them with a cognitive loop. They will replay those 10 seconds 1,000 times. They will try to figure out what your silence meant. This is the narcissistic injury. You've wounded their ego in a way that words never could. You are free. But be warned, they will try to strike back through a third party. I'll show you how to handle the flying monkeys they're about to send your way. And after that, the 3-word phrase that finishes the job for good. The phone call was just the first wave, my friend. Now comes the proxy probe. They will send their flying monkeys, mutual friends, family members, or colleagues, to check on you. They'll ask how you're doing, or mention how sad the narcissist is. Do not fall for it. This is an extension of their surveillance. I'll show you how to turn these messengers into a wall of silence, but first, you must understand why your weakness is their only currency. When the flying monkeys report back that you said nothing, the narcissist will enter the identity reboot. Their reality is cracking. They spent months making you addicted to them, and now you've shown them you can survive in the vacuum. You aren't just a victim who left. You've become a zero signal zone. I'm going to reveal the secondary strike they'll use to try and break your peace. But first, look at the change happening inside your own mind. Next comes the narcissistic rage. If silence doesn't work, they will turn to malice. They might post lies about you or try to sabotage your reputation. This is a Hail Mary to get any reaction, even hate. Why? Because hate is still a connection. But you are going to use their rage against them. In a moment, I'll show you why their anger is actually a confession of their defeat. But first, stay steady as the storm hits. This is where you implement the zero signal zone. You've already given them the dead air. Now you delete the frequency, block the numbers, block the accounts. This isn't out of anger, it's out of strategic laziness. You are too busy building your new life to monitor a ghost. I'll show you how they panic when they realize the door isn't just locked, but gone. But first, recognize that you are no longer the one being hunted. You might feel a twinge of guilt. That's the empathy ghost. Your brain is conditioned to care. But remember, you aren't forgiving a person. You are reclassifying a defective unit. They were a software glitch in your life's journey. By treating them as data rather than a person, you strip them of their weapon. In a moment, I will give you the 3-word phrase that acts as the delete key for your soul. But first, look at the predator's final collapse. They are the ones replaying the tape now, my friend. Every night, they wonder why they couldn't break you. Your silence has become their obsession. They are trapped in a loop of their own making. This is the reversed vacuum. They tried to suck you in, but they ended up losing themselves in the void you left behind. You've occupied their mind for free, and you didn't have to lift a finger. Forgiveness in dark psychology isn't about peace. It's about debt cancellation. You aren't saying what they did was okay. You're saying they're no longer significant enough to owe you anything. Not an apology, not a conversation, not a single thought. You are closing the ledger. The dead air wasn't just a phone trick. It was the sound of your freedom. In 6 months, or a year, they will try again. It's called the anniversary hook. They'll hope you've softened. They'll hope you've forgotten the pain. They want to see if the dead air was a fluke. But you will be ready. You won't be the person they discarded. You'll be a stranger they don't recognize. And when that final attempt comes, you will use the master key. And now, for those of you who stayed until the end, here is the master key. The next time they reach out, the next time they try to claw their way back into your reality, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't even use the 10-second silence. Just deliver these 3 words and end the connection forever. Who is this? Those 3 words don't just hurt. They delete their entire history with you. It tells them they weren't important enough to remember. It turns their tactical deletion back on them. You are no longer a battery. You are a ghost they can never catch. The game is over. You won.